The economy during the Ayutthaya period. Agriculture. Being located on the floodplain and lowland area of the lower Chao River, it had a fertile lands as sediments were carried by streams and were deposited on the Ayutthaya surface. This made it suitable for agriculture, especially for rice. Other crops grown in the area were pepper plants, cotton plants, areca palms, coconut trees, and other fruit trees. The farming productions of Ayutthaya were mostly for domestic consumption. They still use primitive techniques, relying heavily on manpower and animals for cultivation. The productivity was dependent on the nature. The fertile land and abundance of water resources resulted in large agricultural production. The exceeds of the agricultural productions were for export. Areca nuts were exported to China, India, and Portugal. Cottons and coconuts were exported to Japan and Malacca. Rice, which was one of the most important export products, was exported to Malaya, Malacca, Java, Ceylon, China, and Japan. The royal court of Ayutthaya tried to give moral support and encouragement to farmers by creating and performing religious ceremonies to bless the farms and farmers. Some examples were the royal raining ceremony and the royal ploughing ceremony. Threats. The Ayutthaya kingdom became the most prosperous in the region due to the fact that it was the transportation hub for both domestic and foreign trades. 1. Domestic trade. Being located near many major rivers, Ayutthaya became the junction for the local inland traders from the north to bring their forest goods to exchange with the imported goods. Various waterways were convenient routes for transporting goods to the northern cities such as Sukhothai, Lan Na, and Lan Chang, as well as to Tserim, Tawai, and other Burmese cities in the west. The routes also led to northeastern cities such as Korat, Phimai, and Battambang. Of the Khmer Kingdom, the royal court supported these commercial activities with positive policies and laws to promote and control these commercial activities. However, the most trading activities were based on a bartering system or exchanging goods for the personal needs of the traders themselves rather than for profit. The trading centers of Ayutthaya were known as yan or pa, which were used for production of goods as well as for commerce. The local traders exchanged their goods at such places as Yan Pa Khanom and floating markets, while land markets was for domestic and imported goods. Most of the local goods sold in most markets were handicrafts. Some examples were pots, clothes, musical instruments, mattresses, pillows, mosquito nets, and baskets. Food was also sold there, such as dried goods and local snacks. 2. International trading. The ports of Ayutthaya became the center for international trades because it was located at the junction of trading routes between China and India. With the solid political power and favorable trading policies of the royal court, Ayutthaya became the assembling point for products and goods from other ports, especially the required forest products That was why Ayutthaya became international trading port city, which gave the city wealth and richness. The foreign trade had been developed before the founding of the Ayutthaya kingdom. The coastal cities along the Gulf of Siam, as well as other port cities in the Southeast Asian region, had previously been the trading centers for merchants from China, India, and Middle East. During the 19th Buddhist century, the foreign merchants would not travel to the production sites, but would have the products transferred from other port cities to be sent to them. With the establishment of Ayutthaya in BE 1893, the royal court, consisting of the crown, the royal family's members, and nobles, had cooperated with the Chinese traders in sending royal vessels to trade with China, India, Ceylon, Japan, and archipelagos in the Southeast Asian region. During the 21st Buddhist century, international trade expanded to cover Western countries. Portugal was the first Western country to trade with Ayutthaya in BE 2054, Spain in BE 2141, the Netherlands in BE 2147, Britain in BE 2155, and France in BE 2216, respectively. The two reasons that made the city of Ayutthaya the hub for international commerce were as follows. The center of forest products. The popular and highly sought after forest products for international trades during the 19th to the first half of the 23rd Buddhist century were deerskins, sappanwoods, lac, frankincense, and various metal ores such as tin and lead from the inland region of Southeast Asia. The center of distributing products, Ayutthaya played a vital role in being a transit destination for distributing goods from China to the heart of Southeast Asian region, including goods which were destined for distribution to the ports near the Indian Ocean. It was an assembling and distributing center for inland and coastal goods, which were exported to China and Japan. Characteristics of Ayutthaya's trading system. The international commerce at the time was semi-monopoly. The majority of the export and import trades were done by the crown, royal family members, and nobles. The royal vessels were the means of transport. Only some trades were conducted by private traders with the local people. Later on, the Western countries began exporting armaments to Ayutthaya, which were prohibited. The king then organized a royal warehouse. The crown became the main wholesaler for all import and export trades. The foreign merchants usually bought forest products. The royal warehouse was very convenient for the foreign traders because it provided the showrooms for both export and import products. The crown earned massive amounts of profit because he was the one who dictated all the prices. The king took closer control of foreign commerce. Hypothetically, during the reign of Somdet Pramahachakapat, the royal warehouse selected many products and then monopolized them. New laws and policies regarding trading activities were set up to control and to monopolize the trades. During the reign of สมเด็จพระเจ้าปราสาททอง he wanted to increase revenue. Therefore, he put more products under his control. Armaments and gunpowder could only be sold to the royal household. Other products such as silks and chinaware were also included in the controlled lists. A new law lists new products which were categorized as prohibited items and had to be imported and traded by the royal warehouse only, such as muskets, gunpowder, ammunition, and silver, and some other export items like tin, lead, saltpeter, rhino horns, ivories, agar woods, sandalwoods, aloe woods, and sapan woods were also listed in the law. The Harbour Department, กรมท่า was responsible for the foreign trades of the kingdom. It was divided into two main units, กรมท่าขวา the Harbour Department to the right, control all trades with countries and kingdoms such as Britain and Java. กรมท่าซ้าย the Harbour Department to the left, controlled all trade with countries such as China and the Netherlands. The main duties of the Harbour Department were to regulate and monopolize the foreign trades and also to list the prohibited products and to collect fees and taxes. Foreign trading was the backbone of the economy of the Ayutthaya royal court. It also brought prosperity and wealth to the Ayutthaya kingdom. The kingdom's revenue. The Ayutthaya kingdom's commercial revenue came through various sources. Firstly, the businesses of the royal vessels and the monopoly trading strategies of the royal house were hugely profitable. Secondly, import duties, tributes, and valuable goods to the royal court from its vassal states, as well as taxes and fees from commoners, were such a sizable income. The kingdom's revenues can be categorized into four main categories as follows. 1. จังกอบ was a type of fees or taxes collected from traders according to the value of the goods carried, either by land or by water, in their vehicles. The fees were calculated at 10% of the value of the cargoes. They could also be calculated from the size of the vehicles or boats. This kind of tax is called ภาษีปักเรือ and it was based on the width of a boat. The checkpoints for tax and fee collection was set up along the waterways around the city of Ayutthaya. The taxes and fees were collected on both the boats and the vehicles. 2. สวย gifts refers to either cash or items paid as gifts to the royal court in lieu of the fiscal services, Kovi, that พระหลวง were obligated to contribute to the royal court. If they paid in cash, it would be called ค่าราชการ or cash in lieu of the labor service for the royal court. Items or merchandise were classified as สวย and most of them were local goods, which the crown could utilize as an export items, for instance, tin, corn, saltpeter, and sapan woods. 3. Argon was a type of taxes collected from surpluses and occupational products of the commoners. For example, taxes on rice, หางข้าว wood collected as provisions for the armed forces. อากรสวน orchard tax were calculated from the species and number of fruit trees in an orchard. There were also taxes for permissions, licenses, and concessions from the court. For example, for mining, forest goods, brewery, and fishery. The fishery tax was called อากรค่าน้ำ 4. Rusha was a type of fees paid for the governmental services such as fees for filing lawsuits and issuing legal documents such as land title deeds. It was also known as เงินพินัยหลวง Expenditures of the kingdom. There were various types of major expenses. For example, there were a large sum of expenditures for military and war to protect the kingdom or to expand its political power. There were also expenses for rewards to the royal family members, noble, and commoners who served the kingdom honorably. Large sums of royal patronage money were paid for foreigners to build their residences and places of worship, to foster Theravada Buddhism, to conserve and preserve national arts and cultures, and to boost the morale of the subjects. There were also expenses for public constructions of such infrastructures as bridges and man-made canals. In addition, there were expenses for the Ayutthayan court as well as for supporting activities in foreign affairs.